bring. Hi, this is Louise from Timber Creek Lodge, and you're listening to Jesse and Elaine from Bring Me Your Torch.
Welcome to the episode of Bring Me Your Torch. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Elaine.
How you doing, Elaine?
How you doing?
How you doing? I don't even know what we're doing. We're here to have a wonderful podcast in celebration of a wonderful show on CBS, Hunted. We're going to talk to Jacquie Bainer, who is one of the hunters on that show. Are you ready to rock and roll with that?
I'm ready.
Well, then if you're ready, let's do it.
Yeah.
On today's show, we have a star of the hit CBS show Hunted, Jacquie Bainer. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Now, we have never actually met, but when I look at pictures of you, I feel like I know you. I don't know why that. Why do you think that is?
Because you work with my identical twin sister.
I do. I work right next to your twin sister. She came in one day and she's like, I have to tell you this because she knows I have a podcast. She goes, Jesse, my twin is going to be on a new show. And I got super excited, and I went to Google it, and there was basically nothing about it online anywhere. But then as we got closer to the end of the year, things started popping up, and I go, I need to be her number one interview. She has to come straight to me. And I may not have been your first interview, but I think I'm going to be your best interview.
Well, let's see. I hope so.
What? Yeah, it's a great show, though. It really is, and it premiered last month on CBS, and we're addicted to it. Can you tell our fans a little bit about the show and how you got involved in it?
Absolutely. A lot of people are addicted to it, actually. It's so intense. Filming it was amazing. So it's basically, have you guys ever seen Enemy of the State with Will Smith?
Yes, definitely.
Yep. Where he's hiding. So I think of it as like if Enemy of the State married Survivor and they had a baby together. So basically, these fugitive teams, there's 9 teams of 2 fugitives, and they are basically trying to go off the grid and live as if they were, similar to a real life fugitive. They're cut off from their resources. They can ask their family and friends for help, but that puts them in a position where, that we're likely going to be monitoring those people. And then if they can avoid getting captured by a team of hunters, of which I'm a part of, for 28 days, then they win like $250,000, which is really amazing. And so then there's the team of hunters that's basically tracking them down. So we have 9 field teams of 2 ground hunters, and I'm on Team Delta. So it's basically Alpha through India. And we are actually the boots on the ground. We are out in this 100,000 square mile radius where these fugitives can hide. And we are tracking them down. We're gathering information on them in the field. We are interviewing their family and friends. We're seizing, all their electronics with all their personal data on it. And we're canvassing for witnesses, and then we're sending all of the information that we compile, and including the data, to the command center, where they have amazing, brilliant minds. There's 14 brilliant investigators at the command center, and they are going through these people's lives with a fine-tooth comb, all of their personal data. They're building profiles on them. They're analyzing their family and friends, how often they talk to them, who's the most likely that they will go to for help, and they're using all this high-tech equipment. It's all uber high-tech stuff, and that really helps us to be able to determine where they went, who's helping them, and ultimately catch them, or they escape. We still have 2 episodes left to go, so we'll see what happens.
I love that you mentioned Enemy of the State. I love going back and watching old movies. I mean, the best one is Escape from New York, when it's like 1999 and an earthquake happens and destroys New York. So after that, but I remember watching Enemy of the State, going, God, can this stuff really happen? Is this something that they can really do? And try
Oh
to do?
yeah.
And I don't know if they could back then, but yeah, they certainly can now, and it's kind of freaky.
It is. Actually, watching the show, I'm learning quite a bit myself because, in terms of investigations, I have a niche of investigations, but, all this cyber technical, all the equipment that they have and the things that they're able to do, that's kind of foreign to me in my line of work. So, it's interesting to see how how many resources and how much technology the government has at their fingertips to be able to compile information on us and track us if they wanted to, if we were fugitives or for some other reason.
It's really kind of scary if you think about it. They take the smallest piece of information and they can get so much from that little, even a transaction or going to the ATM and closed circuit television.
Big Brother really is watching you these days.
Basically, yeah, like George Orwell. Yeah, absolutely. 1984.
Well,
I think we're seeing.
When you were just a little twin sitting on somebody's knee back then, when did you say, I want to become involved in the high-stakes world of criminal investigation? Like, when does that happen? When do you decide to go down that path?
It actually happened on accident, to be honest. It was a complete accident. I was an investigative journalist, and I loved investigative journalism. I love to write, I love to tell stories, and I love to tell other people's stories. So, but as an investigative journalist, I really learned that I had a knack for research and digging up information, and then I always loved to come at the politicians really hard, especially when I knew they were lying to me. And I loved uncovering the truth that was being suppressed. So, but unfortunately, investigative journalism is somewhat of a dying art, and I really couldn't make a decent living at it. So it just happened that one day one of my friends introduced me to a retired state police major from the Connecticut State Police, and he had his own private detective agency. And he took a liking to me and brought me on board and basically took me under his wing and taught me criminal investigation. And I fell in love with it. Right from the start, I knew that criminal investigation, it's really a part of my heart. And I get so excited even just thinking about new cases that come across my desk. So, so it's kind of like I just figured it out, Life just unfolds, and you realize what your destiny is as life happens.
So sometimes you don't know what your calling is until you actually hear it.
Exactly like that, Jackie.
And you're also very good at it. You're currently the Director of Communications for Integrated Security Services. Can you tell us about that position?
Oh, absolutely. So I work for Integrated Security, and we are a security and private detective agency, and our headquarters is in New York City. But we have offices and contracts like all over the country. And one of the offices is here in Connecticut. We have a security division and an investigation division. And in my role as this is actually a new role for me, being the Director of Communications. I was formerly in charge of all of the investigations that occurred in the state of Connecticut. So I would basically oversee any new case that came in, whether it was criminal, police misconduct, because we do the investigations for the Civilian Review Board of Hartford, any type of investigation that came across in Connecticut or was for a Connecticut client and needed to be handled out of state, I would coordinate that. So now as the Director of Communications, what I'm doing is I'm helping to develop and launch some new security initiatives and some new investigation initiatives for our clients. We provide security services to high-rise residential buildings, private schools, corporations, religious institutions, and it's something that I've actually become really passionate about lately, just given the whole landscape of security and all the things that are going on in today's world and how unsafe I see everybody feels. It's very important to have, a good security assessment and figure out what your needs are with all of the things that are going on in today's world.
You sound like a very busy person.
I am. I am very busy. I'm trying to manage it all. It's working itself out, definitely.
Is it as exciting as being on the show?
Well, nothing's quite as exciting as being on the show, because that was just a month long of filming and traveling and intense hunting, and it was really, so nothing's quite as intense as that, so definitely still exciting.
When I heard what you did, I pictured like Dog the Bounty Hunter, like smashing in doors and taking down the perps or whatever. So that's not what you do. It's a little different than that. I mean, does anybody in your line of work do that, or is there a distinct line between bounty hunter and what your organization does?
Absolutely. There's a distinct line between being a bounty hunter and being a private investigator. Bounty hunters are looking for fugitives. They're really called bail enforcement officers these days, and they're basically looking for fugitives who have skipped bond. And they work in concert with the local police wherever they believe their fugitive to be. So they, usually get the approval and support of the local police department when they're trying to pick up a fugitive. And we certainly, as private investigators, we don't have really ties with law enforcement in that capacity where they will help us to find our witnesses. And we don't have any more powers than really John C. Public.
So you don't wear a vest, you don't have a mullet, and none of that stuff.
Not yet.
Give it time.
Halloween costume there.
True. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea for Halloween.
Well, on Hunted, you're partnered with Paul Rossi. Did you know him before the show, or did they just kind of team you guys up together?
No, we did know each other. As a matter of fact, he worked for Integrated Security. He worked for me in the Hartford office doing private investigations, and we worked together. And he actually heard about the show and auditioned. And when he auditioned, he learned that they were looking for teams of two who had already had prior working experience together and already had chemistry and a good relationship and rapport. And when he and I worked together, we just had the best time. We would quote movie lines. We both loved slapstick comedy. So it was always like Mel Brooks and Airplane and all really old cool movies.
I'm serious, but don't call me Shirley.
Exactly. So we would do that. We would come up with nicknames for each other while on surveillance, and his nickname's Beardo because he's got this crazy beard and he's obsessed with it. So anyway, when he learned that they were looking for teams of two that already had prior working experience together, he called me and was like, "Hey, do you want to audition?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'm totally into that." So I auditioned, and we got on as Team Delta.
That's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And once you get on the show, one of the things I'm really interested in knowing is, how does this exactly work? So you talk to a lot of people, you're knocking on doors, you're asking questions. Do these people have to let you in their house? Do they have to talk to you? Because I would slam the door in your face and go, "I don't know what you're talking about." And they seem to be very cooperative.
Yeah, no, they don't have to tell us the truth. They don't have to, but they don't always know that.
Yeah.
So
couldn't these people just stay in the basement for a month and just win? I don't understand.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what the rules are, and I'm not sure of some of the rules of the show because it was only obviously given what rules I had to follow. But so I know that there are certain rules they have to follow because it's a contest, and but I do know that the fugitive accomplices do not have to tell us the truth, but they don't always know that. So sometimes if you put the pressure up and turn like the way that I did with so spoiler alert, did you see the episode? You saw the episode episode 5, I think, Fight, Flight, or Freeze? Did you see that, Jesse?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so when I was interviewing the accomplice who was helping the two girls to in Centra Tran, he did not know that he didn't have to be honest with me. Yeah. And I basically pressured him into giving me the answer that I was looking for.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I have a relative who is a lawyer, and the advice they give me is, I think it's good advice. Even if you get caught with a smoking gun in your hand, the only two things you say are, "I didn't do it and I want a lawyer." Don't tell them anything else.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it was me, I would certainly do that. But I'm more well educated in terms of this arena and field. So he didn't know, So.
Well, there are hunters like you, as we saw, but then there are also the group that was researching the fugitives that we saw in the command center. Did you all interact with them that much? And what were your interactions like?
Oh, absolutely. We interacted with them every day and sometimes several times a day. The ground hunters were, in the field, and we're doing the interviews and we're gathering, information. While at command center, they're basically, the commander, Robert Clark, is essentially, he's the leader. And the ops commander, Lenny DePaul, they're our bosses. They're our superiors. We have to answer to them. So absolutely, we interacted with them every day and communicated the information that we found. They communicated the information that they found, and they would direct us based on information that they found and analyzed. And sometimes we would tell them what we thought if they didn't have a direction that they were going in, and then they would say, okay, go ahead and do it. But absolutely, the command center is so to speak, they're our superior.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys had a really great working relationship and you knew how to get things done.
Although I don't want to get in his bad side, but Robert Clark, dude, seems intense. Like maybe take a chill pill, smile every once in a while, man.
The commander is great. He's actually such a wonderful human being. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met, and he takes his job very seriously. He does, but he's really a true leader. He knows how to unify the group. He definitely, brought us all together with the common purpose that we're focused on finding these fugitives, and he gave us all direction and unified us. And he's in his personal life, he's just an amazing human being. He gives back so much to the community. So yeah, a lot of people have said, that I scared them when I was on the show, and they saw me that guy up. So it's just a matter of, this is what we do for a living. It's true. And we are serious about what we do. And obviously we wanted to capture these fugitives because it was our mission. So there's some seriousness going on there, but we're not like that constantly.
I understand, this is what you do for a living, but it doesn't mean you're mean and scary. I worked in politics for a while and was a lobbyist. Doesn't mean I'm a corrupt scumbag, I swear.
Well, I beg to differ.
Well, we mentioned a few minutes ago about how these people just aren't always as smart as they could be. They don't know what they can and can't do. To me, it seems like a lot of these people get caught because they panic. They make a run for it when they should just stay where they are.
It's human nature.
Yeah, but is that something that you see often off the show?
Yeah. Well, off the show, the only interactions I really have with fugitives is that our company, we work with some bail enforcement officers, and we gather the intelligence, kind of like the command center does, and we send it to the bounty hunters in the field. But we're usually looking for witnesses, and I see that, it's a different situation when you're actually being hunted. But yeah, they definitely panicked, several of them, and that's absolutely what got them caught. And it's like Lenny DePaul said, when you're in that type of hyper vigilance and your instincts, they turn your
fight
human
or flight.
instincts. Yeah, they turn into animal instincts, and absolutely, and you fear that you're going to be caught, so you react, and sometimes that does end up getting you caught. But two in Centra, they were just looking to go get a taco. They were just looking to celebrate. They weren't panicked at all.
Well, one of the things I've been saying to Elaine, and I think even online, was that when I look at those two, Rossi's been a great partner, but I think tacos are probably your best partner this season.
Well, let me tell you something, Jesse. I have a real weak spot for tacos. They're like in my top favorite foods. Like if I had 5, tacos might be number 2 next to lobster, but I totally empathize with two in Centra that if I was celebrating,
they got way too comfortable. They were way too comfortable, though. They should have waited till day 29.
They could have, and they did, and she said it right before, she said it right before they went. I don't want to get cocky or anything, but we've really done a good job avoiding detection, and up to that point they had, but that's what happens. People get cocky, and I know that from an investigator standpoint, I never want to get cocky and think that that's like the worst thing that you could do, think that, oh, I've got somebody.
The moment you think you're safe is the moment that you're not.
Exactly. And the moment that you think you got it all figured out, you realize that you don't. And that's what Two and Centra found out. They got cocky and they got caught. Yeah.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised that like more people didn't alter their appearance?
Yes, I am actually. I'm really surprised that David Windetcher did not shave his beard. Of all the people on the show, I am surprised that he has not yet. I mean, certainly we don't know if he's going to get caught, if he has yet or not. But to date, he has not shaved his beard, and
he'd be unrecognizable if he did that. It's been driving me crazy the entire season, actually.
I think so too. Yeah, I was a little surprised that people didn't try to alter their appearances more. The first couple that got caught, Matt and Christina, I mean, they had wigs, but he ended up wearing the woman's wig, and she ended up wearing the man's wig. It didn't make any sense to me.
I was actively rooting against them. They're so stupid. They deserve to get caught. If they're listening, I'm sorry, but come on. They even said it in the control room. Like, they couldn't be this stupid, could they?
You know, it's not their world. He sells real estate, and she's a model. It's not their world. They don't really know any better. So, they wanted to come on the show and thought that they could, try to avoid capture, but they got caught really quickly because they just didn't have any idea about any of this technology and how it could get them caught.
I guess it's a positive that they're, I don't want to say innocent, but, they're so, out of this world that they didn't even think about that. That could be thought of as a positive thing.
It's absolutely. And yeah, absolutely. And they're very nice people. They're just so sweet. Obviously after everything went down, we got to know the fugitives a little bit more, and they're just, those two people are just really, really sweet people. And I wish them nothing but the best in life. They just didn't have any idea what they were up against, and they paid for it. So, a little wiser for the wear now.
Definitely. Well, are you going to come back for a second season? Have they had any talks about that yet?
I know that they were auditioning fugitives for a second season, but I haven't heard officially the word that they are having a season 2, but I certainly hope they do. I know that a lot of the fans hope they do. We have a really great following, and we're getting really great ratings. And I don't know, Jesse, so on Twitter, Arlene, are you on Twitter?
Yep, we're on Twitter.
I know that the show is on Twitter. So as the shows are airing, it's really cool. We're getting to interact with the fans as the shows are broadcasting. We're interacting with the fugitives as the shows are broadcasting. And it's really a cool way to experience and enjoy the show after, being away for that month and everybody being under so much stress, the hunters, the fugitives. And now it's aired, months later, and we're really getting to enjoy it and interact with each other and have fun on Twitter as it's airing. So we were trending number 1 in the U.S. 2 weeks ago, I think, and number 1 in Connecticut during the airing of Hunted.
The only problem is, though, what if you've gotten complacent and someone's looking for you now to find you because you're tweeting out things, doon.
Well, I hope that there's no reason that I ever have to go off the grid. But if I do, I'm learning a lot being on the show. So.
You can always come stay with us. Oh, wait, now they know, so no, you can't.
Well, Elena was mentioning she wants us to go on the show for next season. I go, I don't know. I think we'd be caught very quick.
Do you think he would be? Do you think he would be caught?
Do you think, Elaine? Do you think we could give up our phones? Because I've heard you say no phone, old car that can't be tracked. I don't know if I can live without my creature comforts.
Oh yeah, a lot of people can't. I mean, we're just so dependent on our phones these days, and unless there's a real reason to give it up, most people won't. I think it's important to unplug every now and then, but I don't know that I could live without my device unless, World War III broke out and I was forced to, and then I would be able to live without it. But I'm not giving it up unless you're prying it out of my hands. You know what I mean?
And if Enemy of the State taught us anything, there are satellites in the sky that can pinpoint our exact location anyways.
Oh, yes.
Right? I know. That's really scary. It is. It is.
Well, before we go, is there anything you can tease for the remaining episodes of the season?
Does anyone last?
Oh, you can't tell us that.
Wait, is there anything I can tease?
Yeah. No spoilers, but is anything good going to happen?
Let's just say things are going to get really interesting for the last 2 episodes. And I'm really looking forward to watching it myself because I heard what happened, obviously being part of the cast, but I cannot wait to see it. How's that for a teaser?
That makes
really
3
exciting.
of us.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It has been an absolute pleasure. If you ever visit your sister at work, I'll take you out for a taco. And we can talk all about this.
That would be great. Now, do I sound like her? Does my voice sound exactly like hers?
I'm telling you, to me it doesn't. She tells me that you guys look exactly alike, sound exactly alike, and I could definitely tell the difference for both of you by looking at you and by listening to you. So I don't know.
You know, she wants to be my stunt double for the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Did you guys ever do this stuff where you like switch classes in school and see if anybody knows?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we switched boyfriends, and that was fun.
Whoa! I bet that was fun.
Actually, we didn't really switch, but one day my daughter's father came into the apartment we were sharing, and he thought that she was me, and he was like apologizing profusely for something that he had done, and I just apologized to her, and I was standing in the doorway laughing, trying to, and I just let him keep going on and on.
That's great.
You know, you got that stuff. You got double mint gum. I mean, being a twin's pretty good. You got Schwarzenegger and DeVito. I don't have any of that stuff. I'm a sibling, but we're not twins. Oh well.
Twins are cool.
Well, if you come back for a second season, we would love to have you back and talk a little bit more about it.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for having me. It's nice to meet both of you.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay, take care.
Well, Jackie was awesome, and I swear I'm not saying that just because I work with her twin. I really mean it.
I think she was great, and I really enjoyed talking to her. You Connecticut, what do you call each other? Connecticutites or
Connecticutites? I don't know.
You guys
New Englanders.
Your own language going, and it was nice to kind of see you go back and forth and kind of shoot the shit.
Ooh, such language on you. You could call us nutmeggers because even though we're the Constitution state, the second name, I guess, is the nutmeg state. So you got that going. But anyways, no one cares.
There you go.
Thank you guys all for listening. And now you can go to our website at www.bringmeyourtorch.com. But where else can you go?
Facebook.com/bringmeyourtorch or Twitter.com/bringmeyourtorch without the H.
No H. Go to iHeartRadio and AHA Radio. If you have an iPhone or you like go into iTunes, go to iTunes now, type in our name, give us 5 stars, write a review, say we're wonderful, say we're the best podcast in the world, say we're okay. I don't care. Just do something, please. Or if you have an Android, you can go to Stitcher, Blueberry, any app that plays podcasts. We're going to be on it, so just listen to us.
Do it now. Don't be lazy.
I know. I always say I'll do it later. I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. I will leave you alone if you do it. I promise. I'll ask somebody else. I won't ask you again. But, or you can go to YouTube too. Just do all this wonderful stuff. And after you do that, just remember that you may have come here as a stranger, but you're leaving as a friend. And we'll see you next time on Bring Me Your Torch.
Bye.